Namaste, welcome. This is Thomas for Lighthouse Yoga, Tarot, and Astrology, also Outcast Astrology. Today is Tuesday, April 12th. It is just after 11 a.m. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Evanston, just north of Chicago. So we're at Central Standard Time. We're looking to the east in the Stellarium program. You can see Orion is on the horizon, as well as Gemini just a little bit to the left. And you've got the fixed star in Taurus, that fixed Earth, as part of that fixed cross. And that's what's coming up on the horizon. Of course, the sun is up, and you can't see these stars normally, and that's the beauty of this program. So just looking at some of the aspects, we're going to talk about all that's going on. You can see I've got Mercury highlighted, and as I pull through here up to the sun, you're going to see the sun in Pisces. Mercury is in Aries, and it is still in its forward motion. It will go retrograde on the 10th, technically speaking. And it's going to be moving around its arc already, around the beginning of May. But that's still a little bit of a ways in the future. That's going to be from May 10th all the way until the beginning of June. So we've got a longer Mercury retrograde than normal. It's almost 4 weeks. All right, so back to the matter at hand, back to the now moment. So you can see this. I've got the planetary arc highlighted. This is Mercury's path through the heavens and around the sun. If we progress the time, we'll be able to follow Mercury as it goes through. It's going to dip all the way into Taurus. And just as always, so there's no confusion, we're looking at the sidereal time and the sidereal location of the planets. So this is where the sun is actually located based on the precession of the equinoxes. This is where the planets are actually located. This is consistent with Vedic astrology, as well as various Eastern types of astrology where they use that sidereal time. So if you're used to the Western system, this will be off almost the whole sign, shifted backwards. So right now, of course, the sun is in Aries for most people, about to go into Taurus in 10 days or so. But we've got the sun, pretty squarely in Pisces, and this makes a big difference based on one of these major conjunctions that we're looking at, which is Jupiter and Neptune. And I'm going to highlight Jupiter, and hopefully this won't go too bonkers with the planet orbit. I'm actually going to pull that off in just a second, but you can see Jupiter is in Aquarius. Let me go over here to the side. If you're not familiar with this program, I'll try to go slowly here so you can see this. I'm pulling up the viewing options. This is under the solar system, and you can see if you just let it hover, it'll give you the options. And I've got the show planet orbits, and I'm gonna toggle that off so it doesn't get too messy on the screen. All right, so we'll close this one down, and then we'll pull up the finder so that we can look for Neptune. And it's going to give us that crosshairs almost directly on top of Jupiter. So this was exact just a few hours ago, maybe 5 or 6 hours ago, that Jupiter Neptune was precise. But Jupiter Neptune, this conjunction is still going on, and you can see over here it gives you the constellation. This is still in Aquarius. Don't let the art fool you. Sometimes it gives you sort of a misperception. If you want to get really specific, you would click on the actual star that's nearest your planets or nearest your conjunction, and you can go by that. But that's a little bit, uh, more precise than we need to be at the moment. You can always use the Western charts, and this is what I do: is I will use the Western charts to look at aspects, because those precise angles are still going to hold true whether you have the planets in a particular sign or a particular house. The houses for that part actually do stay fairly consistent, but the signs will shift approximately 25, 26 degrees. So you can always use the Western chart to get your precise aspects, and then you can put the planets in their proper signs, and that'll give you a much clearer sense about how to read the aspects. So right now, Jupiter and Neptune in Aquarius is very different than Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. So Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces, a lot of people have been fairly positive about this because it's taking place in Pisces in the Western chart, and this gives rise to all kinds of wonderful imagination and heightening your, uh, psychic abilities and things like that. You know, believing and thinking about beautiful thoughts, getting together with people and sharing vision. All of those are positive aspects of this conjunction. The negative aspects would be, sort of an overindulgence in that, too much of a good thing, a little bit too much fantasy, right? Too much of that sort of vagueness, right? Not grounded. But if we look at this in Aquarius, it shifts that whole arena. You think about the houses, think about the signs as the venue for whatever's taking place. And Jupiter and Neptune getting together in Aquarius, which is much more stable. It's much more mental, right? It's an air sign, and it's a fixed air sign. So a lot of people will equate Aquarius with the future, with outer space. This is an opportunity to imagine a brighter future, right? And we can use this kind of energy to think in more grounded terms, more solid terms, what we can actually create, working with what we have, the tools that we have, putting our hands in the dirt, growing food. It is springtime. There's no doubt about that as we're coming up into these spring months, right? Feeling into the abundance of the earth, right? And what the Mother Earth has to bring, right? And how we can move forward in a sustainable way. All of these things I think are really useful uses of this energy right now. Um, I hope that explanation is at least sensible in the way that these systems can differ, and the way that we can kind of see how we can read these aspects based on where they are. Now, I'm going to stick primarily to the sidereal, to the interpretations of where the planets actually are, because that's the system I use, and that is, I think, if you're looking at your own birth chart, that also shifts your understanding about your own birth chart, because your sun sign will change, your moon will change, mostly all the planets will change, with the exceptions. If you've got a planet at the cusp of one sign, it might shift. Almost at the end of a sign, it'll shift back toward the beginning of the sign, and it'll still remain in that sign, but you're going to have a very different reading, because that sign is going to be closer to a house cusp, maybe even cross a house cusp, and that will change as well. Any interpretations of your chart. So I don't mean to be confusing, and I don't mean to mess with anybody, but I have tried to sort this out as best as I can for myself so that I can explain it. And I do feel that it is more accurate when I approach my own chart, and when I've approached charts for other people. It tends to be a, a, a more consistent and more holistic approach. So that's all I'll say about that. I'm not trying to sell you on it, but do want to put my 2 cents in. So Venus in Aquarius, right? Again, you can always click, you can always check. Mars, Aquarius, again, sometimes doesn't give you. Saturn, right, is in Capricorn, and this is significant. Pluto is going to be in Sagittarius. It won't change until the beginning of next year. The the signs do change fairly consistently. So when you have a sign change in the Western system, you'll have a sign change in the sidereal as well. So can be a little bit off, but for the most part, it's true. All right, I'm trying to go through right now. There's lots of aspects to the moon, or the two main aspects right now is you have this moon trine Mercury. So there's that emphasis on communication and our emotions, our personal experience. Right? We want to communicate our experience, and that might be the reason why I felt compelled to make this video today. Is I'm wanting to share a little bit more of what I'm interested in and how I'm viewing things, how I'm seeing things. I'll try not to get too personal because that's I don't want to invade your personal space, because you might be feeling the same way. You want to share your personal experience. So think about how you're being affected. Mercury again is in Aries, and it's of course over there in trine with Leo. So we've got that moon in the fire sign. It's wanting, again, very expressive. So think about how you're expressing, and enjoy yourself, share yourself vibrantly and joyfully. And the other major aspect is the moon is in opposition to Mars. So we want to be mindful of our temper. We want to be cautious that, like, if we're not able to express ourselves the way that we want to, we're able to be a little bit humble and remember that it's not always possible, but understanding that there might be that impulse might give you a better perspective and ability to control that impulse. Simply knowing that it's there. Right? When I was a kid, um, we would watch afternoon cartoons, and GI Joe was on, and for whatever reason it was on kind of early, and so we would have to like run home to catch it. And if you didn't get home to catch it, there was always this little clip at the end, kind of like a little lesson about, I don't know, like a little anecdote or something. Remember to pack your lunch, or look out for lightning storms or something like that. And it would always say, the more you know, and knowing is half the battle. And there's something to that if you understand, and that's part of what astrology can provide. If you understand certain tendencies, if you understand that there are these energies that are at play, you're prepared to deal with them. You're driving down the road. If you're looking 10 feet in front of you, and the light at the end of the block is red, you might be pushing on the gas pedal. But if you look in the distance and you see the light is red, you're going to say, okay, I don't need to push on the gas pedal so hard because I'm going to have to stop in 100 feet and 100 yards. So you can see the things that are coming, you can see the energies that are at play, and then you can adjust yourself accordingly. Understand that there might be that impulse and that you might be hitting a wall. When you feel that impulse, there might be that kind of push-pull. These are the sort of strongest aspects for the day. Saturn is squaring the North Node, so another sort of limiting factor. So you're gonna feel these kind of push-pull dynamics, and again, these are in trine and in square with the moon, so that's going to be affecting the emotions, our sort of inner our inner ocean, right? Let me get a sip of water. All right, so I think that's probably enough for today. I mean, I just kind of wanted to jump on and kind of look at everything that's going on. There's current events. There's a little bit of a ruckus over in New York. There's some calamity going on underground in the subway, and I thought about Jupiter. I thought about Neptune. Neptune is kind of like the deep ocean. It has that underworld tone. Poseidon. These are underworld themes. Even though it's in Aquarius, it's right on the cusp with Pisces. So there is that transition energy. I still think there's a lot of water involved. I don't disagree with the Western astrologers that are looking at all the rain, some flooding and things like that. But I don't like to predict or prognosticate on those kind of things. But I do take note of sort of those themes. I think that's part of studying astrology is recognizing certain patterns and recognizing certain themes of um, you know things that happen uh, I say coincidence in the truest sense of that word, right? They coincide. Right? I don't believe in coincidence as a way to write off any happenings, right? If you are an astrologer, you don't believe in coincidence. We look at these things as uh, you know having an equal influence on each other, right? And the planets affect us, we affect the planets. As we observe the planets, they in some way are observing us, right? This is the kind of a physical representation of how all of this works together. So we have the chakras inside us, right? Each of the chakras is a planet, right? We have all those energies. We have all the planets inside of us, and where they are found in the chart, right, speaks to how those energies in your own body are affected and how they express themselves. So until next time, my friends, I'm sure I'll be back sooner than later because I'm enjoying talking to you